Hello everyone. Welcome to Astro Hour. Good to see you all. Come on in the room and get settled. Just gonna go ahead and light my Palos while we all trickle in and get comfortable. I am Mambo Soleil. I am the founder and facilitator of the Charm School Mentorship Program, cover mother of Vision of Dawn Tour. I'm your weekly reader, and I'm a dope bitch straight up out of Oakland. Many of you have been here before, so you know who I am, but I'm just saying that for the people who may be coming across this video or my work for the first time. Come on in the room and get comfortable. We will start shortly. We'll start in just a second. Hello everyone, Herbal and Spice video on Patreon. I hope you enjoyed it, Nicole. That's one of my favorite classes that I taught. It's one of my favorite classes I taught with Mambo LaBelle Venus. My apologies. I miss teaching with her so much. That's my girl. We did a lot of really amazing work together, and I can't wait until she and I work together again. Oh, little ash got on my chest. Never told you. Is you. Okay. I'm definitely going to come back to this playlist after we're done with the conversation tonight. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So we are doing another Astro Hour segment this week. I wanted to get at least one more in before the Thanksgiving holiday. Speaking of Thanksgiving, I just want to let you all know that even though I typically do lives on Thursday, next week and the week of Thanksgiving, the lives are going to be on Friday. So my live schedule for the next 2 weeks will be Sunday nights, Friday nights. Because I know a lot of people are going to be traveling. I know I'm not going to want to go live on Thanksgiving. And I assume that a lot of people are going to be spending time with their families. So next week and the week after, we will have a Friday schedule. And then going back in the first week of December, we will be right back to Thursdays, okay? But tonight we're doing Astro Hour. For those of you who may not be familiar with Astro Hour, this is where we come together and instead of doing happy hour where we talk about pop culture or geopolitics, tap into the energetic zeitgeist of the moment, this is where we look at the current astrology and break down what's important. So I'm going to be talking tonight about the new moon in Scorpio that takes place next week on the 20th. And I'm also going to revisit our conversation about Chiron Retrograde. Chiron Retrograde is one of those really long placements. It's been happening since July, and it's going to be with us until mid-January. And with the shift from Scorpio, Sun in Scorpio, going into Sagittarius, the emphasis of what Chiron has to teach us is going to be shifting a little bit. So we're going to revisit our Chiron conversation for those of us who are invested in shadow work, who want to release blockages, who want to figure out how to turn our wounds into healing. I thought it would be good to revisit that conversation. But first, let's start. I want to say hi to everybody first. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Aisha. Hello, Janine. Hey, Lovana. Let's see who else is here. Hi, Chantel. Hey, Tori. Thank you all for joining tonight. If you know anyone who would be interested in this conversation, please feel free to share the link. The more people who are here with us, the more the merrier. The better it is, the more, hey Tiffany, the more informed everybody gets to be. Hey Josie, I am very tired, but grateful and blessed. Tonight is the last night of Rich Spirit. We just wrapped up, actually a couple of hours ago. So I'm truly, deeply grateful. Really excited about this group of women I got to work with. Really excited about how excited and open to change they were. and the breakthrough that we've accomplished. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling accomplished. I'm also feeling dog tired. I could use about 10 hours of sleep, but we're going to get through this together. We're going to have some fun tonight while we are learning together. So let's start with this new moon in Scorpio. On November 20th, which is 1 week from now, that's Thursday of next week, we are going to have a new moon in Scorpio. It's going to be 28 degrees in Scorpio, which means it's somewhat firmly rooted, okay? When we look at the degrees of a position, the deeper the degrees, the more rooted it is in that sign or that position. So, and we know that new moons are about what we call in, what we welcome in, whereas full moons are about release, right? So with the new moon in Scorpio, this is also aligning very closely with the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. So we currently have a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio that's going to last till about the 27th or the 28th, right? And with that alignment, it also is in opposition to Uranus, which is in Taurus. What does all that mean? This energy is very much supported by outer planets, and it's really deeply rooted in the potential for deep transformation energy. Hey, Sanidra. Hey, Bertal. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So this is very much a new moon that is about transformation, death, and rebirth, right? Remembering that Scorpio is the sign of death and regeneration, right? So when we have a new moon in Scorpio, this is an opportunity for us to transform in ways that bring depth, complexity, as well as a little bit of mysticism into our life, right? So this is a new moon that's really going to be dealing with hidden or underground currents in our life, specifically related to intimacy, shared power, and shared resources. Also, anything related to secrets, right? Remembering that Scorpio is the detective of the zodiac. It loves the hidden. It loves the mysterious. It loves to get down deep into the root and the psychology of what makes a person or a thing tick, right? So this is a new moon that is very much about emotional metamorphosis. Hey, Nicole, good to see you. Oh, I love it. I love how many people are here. So many familiar faces. Again, as you come into the room, say hi. Introduce yourself, hit those scale emojis so that I know who's here with me and that I can talk to everybody as I go along. I love talking to people as I'm doing this. It helps me. I don't like being watched, even though I go live a lot. So the more that you talk to me in the comments, the more this feels more like a conversation as opposed to just being looked at randomly. So yeah, this is a new moon that really invites us to move beneath the surface in order to bring in and welcome a fresh start, right? This asks us about what needs to end in order to welcome in something new. What new things are going to begin? What part of the self or what part of our emotional patterns are ready to be stripped away so that deeper authenticity can arise, right? That's one thing to remember. Hey, No Name. I love it. Hey, No Name. Good to see you. Remembering that Scorpios don't like superficiality. For them, it's about deep, being on the depths of things, right? Getting to the inner workings of a thing. So this new moon is really asking us to strip away anything that's superficial, anything that's causing blockages related to our authenticity, okay? And again, because we also have Mercury retrograde at the same time, which means that the energy of Mercury retrograde is involved in this new moon in Scorpio, there's a strong energy of revisiting, right? Remembering that retrogrades are not, we know that the planet looks like it's moving backwards, but retrogrades are an opportunity for us to revisit, to revise, and to reflect, right? That's what retrogrades do for us. So having a new moon in Scorpio during a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio means that we are being visited with the opportunity to look at old issues, really confront buried emotions, Look at unresolved dynamics that need to be reviewed, right? That need to be reviewed so that we can heal them and release. This is a new moon that is about integration and renewal, the rebirth of renewal, right? So don't be surprised if during this time you find that a lot of the language you use shifts, right? You start to release old ways that you talk about yourself. You release old ways that you have, or that you talk about situations in your life, because you're letting go. You're understanding how your perception may have caused you to look at a situation that's not allowing you to step up and show up as your true self, right? Also, don't be surprised if secrets reveal themselves, right? So if you've been feeling intuitive hunches, if you've been feeling that something's off, secrets will be revealed during this new moon, okay? Again, with this opposition to Uranus that's happening, it also suggests that this is it's not just a purely contained or internal energy. So yes, there's a lot going on beneath the surface. Yes, there's a lot happening within us around rebirth, but there can also be some surprise revelations and sudden shifts in perspective that help us break out of old structures in our public life as well, okay? So yes, there's a lot going on internally and beneath the surface, but it can also shape our social and public life in really, really concrete ways. Again, intimacy, power, and shared reality are going to be at the forefront of this particular new moon. It's been coming up in my divination, secrets coming out. That's timely. That is absolutely in alignment with the new moon in Scorpio. Absolutely in alignment. Scorpio's emphasis looks at key areas that include our relationships to power, right? Our external and internal relationships to power. So looking at the ways in which we may abuse power, looking at the ways in which we may welcome situations that allow people to abuse their power over us, etc. It's also going to look at your emotional economy. And what I mean by that when I talk about emotional economy, this is actually a class I'm going to be teaching towards the end of the month, one of the free Charm School classes. Emotional economy has to do with what you share and what you hold back in terms of your emotions, right? How you engage with your vulnerability and how that leads to your energy levels, your frequency, the amount of ashe you have, right? So we're going to be talking about that at the end of the month. But this is also a new moon that, again, remembering that Scorpio is about shared resources, right? So not only is it about transformation in your relationships, but it's looking at shared resources or money, and how that may be related to emotions in particular. Some of you guys may be sharing money because you feel guilted to do so in those situations. Do not be surprised if that particular situation gets exacerbated or tapped on close to and around the new moon, okay? It also looks at the emotional economy of your psyche. So how do you feel energetically when you release emotions? What does it literally cost you to hold on to your emotions and avoid the expression of your emotions, right? Those are all things that are going to come up. For those of you who are on your spiritual journey, right, who are actively engaging in your spiritual walk, whether you consider yourself to be a priest or priestess or just a practitioner, this is going to be a really potent window for shadow work. This is a really important time. It's also a good time for ancestral healing. The whole month is. We're still in Gay season, right? But it's also a good time to confront what lies beneath the surface so that you can work towards planting the seeds of bringing yourself closer to having an authentic life, right? So this is a time that is very much about emotional and spiritual change and stepping away from the hyperfixation on cosmetics or aesthetics, right? I talked about this in the weekly energy reading. There are, unfortunately, a lot of us who are so invested in the performance of being okay that we're not putting a work or a focus into making sure that we feel okay, that we move through the world in a way that allows us to feel safe, I struggle with shadow work. Nicole, the first step is admitting it. The first step is admitting it. A lot of people struggle with shadow work. But shadow work allows you to understand what your shadows are, what your blockages are, what your stumbling blocks are. So definitely that's something that I'm more than happy to help you work on. You know that already. And I'll offer shadow work consultations. You're already signed up on the Patreon. So now that I know that this is something that you have an investment in or you want support around, I'm more than happy to teach a shadow work class in December. Definitely, that's something we can talk about in one of the Patreon classes. What about keeping your emotions in check when spirits reveal stuff? So here's the thing, and again, I'm going to talk about this in the emotional economy class. I think the concept of keeping your emotions in check is fraught with complication because we use it in a way that is not helpful, right? When you say keep your emotions in check, what do you mean? Do you mean keeping your emotions balanced so that your emotions don't run you? Because that's important. If what you mean by keeping your emotions in check is keeping up appearances because you care about what you look like or how other people receive you and you don't want to inconvenience other people, that's not good. That's not healthy. So it all depends on what your operational definition of keeping emotions in check means. KFS, I'm a terrible overthinker. I struggle with meditation and shadow work. KFS, if you're not already on the Patreon, consider joining. So like I just said, we're going to be delving into shadow work more deeply in December, but there already are a couple of classes about shadow work and how to use it to protect yourself during gay day season on my Patreon. So consider joining the Patreon if you're not already a member. I have tiers as low as $5, and every single person who joins at a paid tier on my Patreon gets access to my classes, okay? Last time I did a month-long shadow work, I was so emotional. So that may mean that it's too much for you, right? We don't need to be in shadow work all the time. So you may need to do shadow work rituals that are 4 days long, 5 days long, a week long. Those are all things to consider, okay? Well, thank you all for sharing that with me. So again, let's talk a little bit about how to work with the energy of the new moon, particularly a new moon that is in Scorpio. This is a really important time to notice what's surfacing, right? Or resurfacing, especially as it relates to emotional tension. Look at any recurring patterns you deal with, right? Sometimes we can just brush things off and be like, oh, well, it's always this way for me. Okay, why is it always this way for you? Why are you accepting negative patterns that are bringing you discomfort in your life? That's something to evaluate during this new moon, right? Your hidden resentments may surface. Look at that. Pay attention to that. Why are you walking around with hidden resentments? Why are you walking around with grudges? Why are they rising to the surface during this energy? What are they there to teach you? What will releasing them teach you? Those are all questions to ask yourself. Don't be surprised as well as if any wellness issues come up because, and another thing I've been talking a lot about in the weekly energy readings, a lot of you guys have been ignoring your health. And you've been ignoring your health because you're so busy taking care of everybody else, because you want the accolades of being the good friend or the good healer, that you're ignoring your own health and wellness. So if you start to feel that rise to the surface around this new moon, don't run from it. Pay attention to it, okay? Also, things around power imbalances are really going to come up. Last time we had a new moon in Scorpio, I realized that I had a student that thought that they were my fucking teacher. And I had to release that relationship because it wasn't healthy. It was actually very disrespectful. And they were causing a lot of disruption in my program, right? So any area of life where there's a power imbalance, those things will be tugged on during this new moon. Pay attention to it. Do the work of integrating and learning from it, because what we resist persists. And that is part of what the new moon in Scorpio is here to get us to understand, okay? Because the transformation of this new moon is not purely internal, it's going to be really important for you to make sure that you have scheduled time throughout this week and also the week after to check in with yourself, right? Some of you guys have been neglecting your meditation routines. Now's not the time to do that. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Make sure you're carving out time to sit with yourself, to check in with your spirits, to do a scan over your body and see where you are. It's going to be extremely necessary because of all the different energies that are coming up under this new moon, right? It's also a really important time to refine your communication, right? Again, Mercury is in retrograde in Scorpio. We have a new moon in Scorpio. Rather than running from or avoiding a lot of the miscommunication that you're dealing with, use the energy of this new moon to evaluate how it is you communicate with people and how you wish to be communicated with, so that instead of letting a Mercury retrograde kick you back in, you learn something that transforms the quality of how it is you engage with the people in your life, with the people you speak to most often and share the most time with, okay? But also, it's not all gloom and doom. There's a lot of breakthrough potential in this new moon in Scorpio. So allow yourself to be open to the breakthroughs and the pivots that are possible as a result of what is brought from the hidden depths and into the light for you to confront in this Scorpio new moon energy, okay? You may find opportunity for new collaborations. There may be possible reconciliations with people that you haven't spoken to in a really long time, or that you did not think there was a possibility for reconciliation with, right? Allow yourself to be open to the breakthrough of transformation. And instead of running from it and hiding, be open to it, okay? Just be more authentic and embrace the true emotional power of vulnerability and authenticity. Again, this is not a time to put up appearances. This is not a time to be worried about the aesthetics and the cosmetic. Let yourself be open and vulnerable and be open to the change and the transformation that comes from that. Meditation has been so helpful in really calming myself down and make better decisions. You recommended I focus on that for more alignment. Good. I'm really, really glad to hear that that's been helpful for you. So a few more notes about Mercury, or not Mercury, new moon in Scorpio. And then I want to revisit our conversation about the Chiron retrograde, since next week, towards the end of next week, we are shifting from the sun being in Scorpio into Sagittarius. And the sun has a really big impact on the way we experience a Chiron retrograde. That's why I want to talk about this shift, okay? Because we're entering the last about 7 or so weeks of the Chiron retrograde, and I want us to be prepared for the kind of transformation it opens up. But let's talk about this new moon in Scorpio just a little bit longer, okay? This is a time to prioritize depth over speed. We live in a grind culture. Capitalism makes us feel like in order for something to be valuable, we have to do it quickly. We are speed junkies in this culture. And a lot of what happens with our obsession with speed is that it makes us very, very prone to superficiality. Scorpio doesn't like superficiality, right? So with the focus on depth over speed, this is not a time about rapid new launches or rapid new beginnings. It's a time that's focused on authentic rebirth, okay? This is also a time where we really have to confront the ways in which we give away our power so that we can reclaim our power. Again, Scorpio deals with where we may have handed over our power or our identity or hidden truths. And in order for us to heal through this energy, we have to work on power reclamation under this new moon in Scorpio. This is also a time about focusing on intimacy. When we think of intimacy, we think about intimacy in terms of connecting with others, right? And what did I say? What have I been saying for a couple of weeks now? in the weekly energy readings. A lot of us struggle with intimacy for ourselves. We're not loving on ourselves. We're avoiding ourselves. That's why we're hyperfixated on fixing other people, right? So it's not just about intimacy with others. It's intimacy with ourselves and understanding how intimacy functions as a doorway, right? How it functions as an invitation for deeper connection, okay? Things that are hidden are going to become visible when we're ready. And with this Mercury in retrograde in Scorpio also happening with the new moon, what is ignored is going to come to the surface. So we have to face it with deliberate spiritual integration so that it doesn't pop up on us and continue to pop up out of the shadows and mess with us at different times, right? Also remember that Uranus is retrograde in Taurus. Don't forget about that. So make space for the unexpected. Be open to new forms, new reforms in our life, to new partnerships, new ways of working and seeing things that we may not have previously imagined. Okay? So that's what we need to consider with this new moon in Scorpio. What are you freaking out about now, Batal? What are you yelling at? What is it now? Lord, there is so much going on. Not going to lie. Makes me want to hide. And that's your problem. I love you down, but you can't do that. Hiding don't fix shit. What you hide from is just going to sneak up on you later. And that is what this new moon is here to teach us. We can't hide. We can't run. The more we run from stuff, the more power it has over us. Okay? You can laugh, but I'm going to get on your ass because I love you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't be honest about things like this. Now let's talk about this Chiron retrograde. So those of you who've been watching me for a while, because I started these Astro Hours back in August, right? And one of the first Astro Hours I did, I spoke about the Chiron retrograde. Chiron retrograde started July 30th of 2025, and it's going to remain with us until January 8th of 2026. Now, whenever we have these long transits like this, these 6+ month transits, it's important for us to also look at what's going on with the sun, because the impact of the position of the sun is going to also bring an extra layer of meaning onto these longer transits, right? So again, a little bit about Chiron retrograde. When Chiron is retrograde, it is always asking us to revisit old wounds, not to relive them. So this is not about, wallowing in trauma porn. This is not about victimization. This is about revisiting your old wounds to reclaim the medicine hidden within those wounds, right? So I talk about this a lot. You guys know that my Chiron is in Taurus. I share this a bunch of times. I have my Chiron in Taurus, in the second house, which is double Taurus, right? So it makes sense that I got my start as a priestess by doing financial trauma recovery work and talking to people about healing from financial trauma. Because a lot of people who have Chiron in Taurus or Chiron in their second house have financial trauma issues rooted in childhood, right? That is what Chiron is about. Looking at the wound you have and figuring out what the medicine is. Not just so that you can heal you. Yes, it's to heal you, absolutely. But also that you can bring healing to other people, okay? And with Chiron being in Aries, the primary thing is looking at wounds around self-assertion, wounds around your confidence. Remember, Aries is the sign of I am. It's the sign of identity, right? So when we have Chiron in Aries, regardless of where Chiron is in your personal chart, this is a retrograde that's meant to teach you about wounds related to self-assertion and confidence, wounds that you may have around your right to exist who you are authentically, how it is you may or may not take initiative or take leadership in your own life, and looking at your physical vitality and your relationship to self-trust, okay? Those are all things that come up whenever Chiron is retrograde in Aries. We have the sun shifting from Scorpio into Sagittarius on Friday, November 1st. Okay? So that's about 8 days away. When the sun moves from Scorpio to Sagittarius, remember, Scorpio is fixed water. Fixed water. Okay? Glacier. Think about a glacier. Sagittarius is mutable fire. Mutable fire. When you think about mutable fire, think about a volcano. Okay? So the collective tone in this Chiron retrograde that's already in Aries is going to move from an energy that's in depth, secrecy, and emotional transformation to a conversation about expansion, truth-telling, and seeking freedom, right? It's important to remember, whereas Scorpio is ruled by the moon, right? Or is it Pluto? Don't get mad at me because I'm doing an astrology thing and I forgot what Scorpio is ruled by. But it's different from the energy of Jupiter, which is what Sagittarius is ruled by, right? So this means the healing focus is going to shift from digging into the dark and reframing what we found to looking at the insight of the wound and letting that change our stories, right? So rather than looking and digging in an investigation, Sagittarius, through that Jupiter energy, comes along and says, okay, well, what's the new narrative? How do you get to tell your story? So this is a powerful energy to have happening during a Chiron retrograde in Aries, especially if you already have your Chiron in Aries in your own personal natal chart, or if your Chiron is located in your first house. This is energy that really helps you understand this is an opportunity to rewrite your story and to rethink how it is you talk about yourself and how you introduce and express yourself to the world, okay? So again, as the sun ignites in Sagittarius, we're asking a lot of questions about, what if my wound isn't a weakness? I've been turning around and looking at this wound as though it's something that makes me weak, as though it's something I need to carry with shame. But what if I allow myself to celebrate the wisdom of this wound? What opens up for me if I celebrate who I am as a result of this, right? Because Chiron is in retrograde, the teaching comes with a caveat. You don't want to broadcast your healing. So yes, you are working on your story and you're rewriting your narrative, but this is about a time where you need to integrate it privately. So it's not about you running out to the world and advocating, right? Again, we're still in Scorpio season. And this is happening the day after a new moon in Scorpio. So this is not about running and trying to convince people to other people. That's not what this Sagittarius energy is bringing to Chiron. It's about how you look at you and how you see you. So it's not about the need to broadcast the transformation of your story. It's about integrating it, right? So what do we also want to be mindful of during this Chiron retrograde in Aries as the sun shifts from Scorpio into Sagittarius? Be mindful of overexposure before integration. Again, you don't have to tell everybody your business. Let the transformation happen internally. Work on this with yourself. Now, this may be a struggle because Sagittarius does like to talk, and they do love to preach. They love to publish. They love to teach. It's a sign of the philosopher, the intellectual, right? But again, Chiron is here to remind us that not every insight needs to be here for public consumption. So even though you're going to be excited about what you're learning about you, sit with it for a while. Don't run and share it with everybody. It's not everybody's business yet, okay? Be careful not to teach from an open wound. Just because you've identified the wound doesn't mean you've healed it yet. And this is why you're being cautioned against talking about everybody with it. People are fucking mean and nasty. It's a part of human nature. They're mean and nasty. And when you try to have these conversations about your open wound with people who are actively avoiding the healing of their own wound, what do you think? Or do you think that they're going to help you heal the wound, or do you think they're going to throw salt on it? You're lying to yourself if you think they're not going to do the second one, okay? This is another reason why I really temper that Sag energy, that Sag desire to run tail that. Be careful. It absolutely means that your power level will increase and you'll have a deeper understanding of your own energy. And it'll make you a little bit more introspective, okay? So that's definitely something that's going to work in your favor, no name. Absolutely. Only translate the pain once it's been processed, right? Because that's another thing. You're still processing. You're still figuring things out. If you share with people prematurely, especially people who are not engaged in their own personal development, they may shit on your transformation. They may warp your healing, and you don't need that. So wait until you process before you start sharing with everybody, okay? Another thing that's going to be really important, remember that Sagittarius is a fire sign, and the fire signs learn through movement. They gotta move around, right? Think about the energy of an Aries. An Aries is not capable of being still. Doesn't matter how mercurial the Aries is, they gotta move around, right? So this is a really good time to do energy management, right? Aries rules the physical body and vital forces. And Sagittarius energy can make us very, very excited, right? So use that excitement to incorporate new physical routines. But be careful, because you got to remember that Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So don't overdo it. If you overextend yourself, you can cause injury. So if you know that you have not worked out in 3 months, this is not the time to run out and do CrossFit, okay? Be careful. Integrate slowly new forms of physical activity, right? Remember that your healing is not a marathon, that it's not a marathon. It's important. Listen to your body's cues, ground yourself in ritual. This is a really good time for spiritual baths as well, okay? You're gonna start to see a lot of meaning in what Scorpio season revealed for you. Again, Sagittarius being the sign of the intellectual, the philosopher, the teacher, right? So some of the things that Scorpio season revealed to you that felt overwhelming, you're gonna have deeper understanding of them as the sun moves into Sagittarius. So Sagittarius allows you to make meaning of a lot of the revelation that happened during Scorpio season, okay? Now, some of the identity wounds we may face with Chiron being in Aries are around self-doubt, right? Who am I? Who am I to lead? Who am I to have this anointing? Why do I have these responsibilities? These may be some things that come up for you. You may have some feelings of imposter syndrome, right? You may think that your wounds disqualify you. You also may have some spiritual fatigue, right? I've been doing this healing forever. Oh my God, how many times do I have to confront this wound, right? If you feel this way and you ask yourself these questions, that is a time to slow down and be patient with yourself. You're still dealing with it because it's still there, right? Chiron teaches us that certain wounds don't necessarily go away, right? And as a former disability specialist, that's probably why I'm so obsessed with Chiron, because certain disabilities don't go away. Certain illnesses don't go away. Healing in those contexts is not about running away from the thing. It's about understanding how to live with it in a way that doesn't impede your quality of life, right? But again, remembering that Chiron is the healer archetype. So this retrograde is a mirror for what allows you to help not only yourself, but allow other people to guide themselves through their pain. So as the sun moves into Sagittarius, it's going to spotlight what you can turn into what you pour into others, right? But make sure you use it to tend to your own altar first. You don't want to engage in escapism. Yes, it's beautiful that these things become something that you can heal other people with, but they mean nothing if you're not pouring into your own cup and if you're not using them to heal you, right? So a spiritual corrective that we can engage with as the sun shifts from Scorpio into Sagittarius is that before we expand our own teachings, we have to revisit our boundaries. Revisit your boundaries. Or remember, retrograde, revisit, refine, reflect. Revisit your boundaries as Scorpio shifts into Sagittarius. Look at and reevaluate your rest rituals. Where are you overextending yourself? Again, Jupiter being the planet of expansion, there are areas where we can really overextend ourselves, and that puts a taxing on our ability to heal, right? Also, reevaluate your devotional practices. Are you taking time to venerate your ancestors? In veneration, a part of it is expression of gratitude, thanking them for the revelations you have, thanking them for the new insights you've received. Are you honoring God and thanking Him for what's being revealed to you, right? So work on your devotional practices. Make sure your cup is full before you start pouring into other people. So this is a really important Queen of Cups moment when we have Scorpio the sun moving from Scorpio into Sagittarius. Sagittarius wants to run. They want to heal everybody. They want to teach everybody. They want to take care of everybody. But if you have not used the energy of Scorpio season to look at those areas where you have lack, and if instead of filling up those spaces that are empty, you just defaulted to shame and guilt, and you use Sag's energy of expansion to just run away from the feelings of shame and guilt, you're doing it wrong. Scorpio revealed to you so that you know what needs to be replenished. So do the replenishing before Sagittarius comes along with all this big expansion energy, and then you start pouring into everybody else and worrying about everybody else before you're taking care of yourself. Okay? So I really hope that this was helpful. That's what we have in store for us with the new moon in Scorpio. That's also what the remainder of Chiron in Aries has to teach us as we deal with the sun transitioning from Scorpio into Sagittarius. You guys know the drill. Every time I do an astral hour, I have some specialty readings based on the planets that I focus on during that time. So if people want to know about what the transition from Scorpio into Sagittarius under Chiron and Aries has for them, I'm more than happy to do a reading for you about that. That reading is called the Alchemy of Renewal reading. That's called the Wound to Wisdom reading. If you want to know what the new moon in Scorpio has in store for you, I'm happy to go over that as well. That is called the Alchemy of Renewal reading. As always, there's a minimum love offering requirement of $11.11. So if you want either one of those readings, just go ahead and send a love offering to my Cash App or my PayPal, both of which are scrolling below. If you want both, just send both. And then once you've done that, go ahead and put which reading you want in the comments. And then I'm happy to pull a few cards for you, okay? While you guys are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go through comments just to catch up and see what you guys have been saying to me. And then I'll also give some updates about things that I'm working on. But if anybody wants either of those readings, again, go ahead, send your love offering, and then put the reading that you want in the comments section. And I'm happy to pull a few cards for you, okay? Let's see. I highlighted this earlier. Chantel said their big three is Sag, Aries, Aries. Sounds like I'm in for a time. You're in for a lot of revelation. You're in for a lot of revelation and a lot of opportunity to embrace authenticity. So I'm excited for you. I don't know why you have the upside down smiley face. Y'all got to stop assuming that transformation or personal development has to be dramatic. It's only dramatic if you attach a whole bunch of shame to it. And there's no reason to do that to yourself, right? My natal Chiron is in Aries. This is resonating. I'm glad to hear that, Aisha. Yeah, this is an amazing time to revisit your natal chart. If you all have not revisited your natal chart, I strongly encourage you to do so. If you have looked at your natal chart and you don't understand what the fuck you're looking at, feel free to book a natal chart reading with me. I offer natal chart readings. I also have a specialty reading called the Yearly Forecast that I do every year around this time, where you get a natal chart analysis. You get projections based on your natal chart for the coming year about important dates to be mindful of. And you also get a set of tarot divinations from me. So consider booking that if you want it, okay? My big three is Aries, Sag, Sag. Look at y'all. Look at y'all being astrology twins. Jupiter was always my favorite planet. Didn't know it was my planet. Isn't it crazy how things happen like that? Same with me. Before I knew anything about astrology, I loved Venus. I loved anything that I learned about the planet Venus and the energy around it. And then once I got into astrology and I learned that the ruling planet of Taurus was Venus, I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. All right. So I see that Chantel has submitted a love offering, and I see that Nicole has submitted love offering. So I'm going to go ahead and start with both of them. And then if there's anyone else that would like a reading, go ahead and send your offering, and I will put you in the queue, okay? All righty. I'm going to go ahead and start with Chantel, then we'll do Nicole. And I believe Adelaida sent in something too, so then we'll get to Adelaida. I don't have a natal chart. Well, so you don't know your natal chart, baby. Everybody has a natal chart. Everybody has one, but you don't know your natal chart. So there are a bunch of websites where you can go and plug in your information and look it up yourself. But again, if you want help with interpreting it, because it is just like a wheel with a bunch of squigglies and shit on it. If you don't know what you're looking at and you want help with interpreting it, I'm more than happy, book a reading with me. I'm happy to do that for and with you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight Chantel's last comment just so that I can remember that I'm reading for her, because y'all know my memory is absolute trash. And if I'm not looking at the person who I'm reading for, I will call them the wrong name. I'll call them my little sister's name. I'll do all kind of goofy shit. So give me one moment to pull up my readings so that I know what I'm looking at. Okay, so we're going to start with we're going to do your wound to wisdom first, Chantel, okay? And this is for Chiron and Aries as the sun shifts from Scorpio to Sagittarius. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits who walk with me. What wisdom does Chiron have to give to Chantel as the sun shifts from Scorpio to Sagittarius? How does she transform her wounds into wisdom? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. So in the position of the wound that is beneath the flame and what Scorpio is bringing to the surface, we have the Page of Pentacles. And Page of Pentacles is a really interesting card. It's the card of the apprentice. It is somebody who learns by doing, right? They are somebody who has to learn through the process of experiencing a thing. They watch someone do something and they do it for themselves. Now, how this shows up for you as a wound that may be resurfacing is that you really got to work on your self-trust. You don't really need to watch other people. You have enough information to navigate things on your own, right? So learning to really trust yourself, learning to allow yourself to move out of this apprentice energy, because honestly, that's what causes problems for you, right? If you continually present yourself as a student, not only does it open you up to people to try you and play you like you don't know what you're doing, but then it puts you in a position of always having to doubt and to, for lack of better words, evaluate yourself or check your work against somebody else's opinion, right? So that's something that you really have to work on, and that Scorpio is inviting you to reevaluate and to release. In terms of the reclamation and what you can do to reclaim your power and your agency through healing, Six of Swords, I think you're somebody who does a lot of things out of habit, and you stay committed to a lot of things out of, I won't say guilt, but just in terms of believing that, well, I've done it this way for so long, why would I change it, kind of thing. And so understanding that not only are you capable of moving away from old habits, but you're worthy of it, right? And that your spirits are going to protect you through change. You have a lot of distrust around change. And so instead of seeing change as a form of threat, learning to embrace it as something that's powerful and that opens you up to connect to new forms of power, that's gonna bring a lot for you in terms of being able to reclaim your identity and really tap into your own personal power, okay? In the position of the vision that's carried forward, this is asking how you turn your healing into wisdom and direction for the road ahead. I feel like I've said this to you before. You don't go out enough. You don't celebrate enough. You have a really like light spirit and a fun spirit, but you take life hella seriously. So you don't play. You don't celebrate. You don't go out. And even when you hit milestones, you don't really take time to celebrate them like that. So I can see now why this was saying that this is something you need to let go. It's like you feel like if you're not studying, if you're not working hard, if you're not training the muscle, you are not doing something right. And Spirit is saying, like, that's not true. You got to have just as much fun as you do pour into your work, right? So hopefully you can allow this transition from Scorpio into Sagittarius to really allow you to bring a little bit more play and exploration into your life. Yes, you've told me this before. It sounded familiar as I was saying it. As I was saying it, I was like, I've had this conversation with her before. Okay, now let's do your moon reading, okay? Okay. I got you, La Balin. I'll take care of you after Adelaida. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits, walk with me, elevated ancestors. What wisdom does the new moon in Scorpio have to pour into Chantel? What are the insights and highlights that it will open up and reveal for her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Okay. So in the position of the shadow that needs to be released, which talks about what must die to dissolve, or what must die or dissolve so that you can be reborn, we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So this is an interesting card because when it's upright, it's somebody who's deeply committed to legacy. When it's in reverse, it represents one of two energies. Either it's somebody who's really, really self-indulgent as a form of escapism, or it's somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of trust in their ability to build legacy. And so there's a part of you that you have a lot of big ambitions, but you can't, and I mean this respectfully, you can chicken out of the execution of them because there's a part of you that feels like, well, these are things that belong to other people. And these are things that are easy for other people to get, right? So this is an attachment or an energetic residue that you really need to work on releasing. You got to release this false belief that, yeah, I want these things, but they're for other people. They're not going to be easy for me to get. If it's possible for other people to get it, you can get it too, right? In the position of how your power is going to return to you, which talks about hidden strength or gifts, Emperor, you are very, very disciplined. You're very disciplined. You're very focused. You're very driven. When you are clear about wanting something, you are able to find really, really deep reserves. And I'm not trying to be funny, but Spirit told me to say it this way. Bitch, you got hands. You can fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, both energetically and spiritually. Like, you are not going to go down without a fight. And literally, the Emperor is Aries. It's the god of war. So that's something that you need to be really committed to. That is your power. Your power is that you are relentless. And that once you set your mind to something, you do it, right? And discipline ain't no hoe. Everybody don't have discipline like that. That is a gift in and of itself, okay? In the position of the seed of intention, which talks about what you need to really plant right now, that's going to align you with your moment of rebirth. Hey, Berserker Magica. We have the Seven of Wands. You got to set better boundaries, baby. You get distracted by what other people think way too much. Way too much. And that distraction, I think in the moments when it's happening, you don't know that people are doing it too. Here's the thing. People don't like an elevated bitch. They wish they could be that energy, but they don't really like it. They like it in theory, but they don't like it when it's around them and they can't take advantage of it. And so what do people do? They will say and do shit to distract you and knock you off your fucking square, right? So you have to get better about ignoring other people's shit and not getting distracted by other people's shit, not getting distracted by their critiques, not getting distracted by their drama, not internalizing all the weird shit and limitations that they try to put on you. That's what you really, really need. You got to work on your boundaries, your energetic boundaries. Okay? I hope that was helpful for you. No name. So there's a new moon reading and a Chiron with the sun shifting from Scorpio to Sagittarius reading. So whichever placement you want me to do for you, because I know that the titles can be complicated. So if you want a new moon reading, just say moon. If you want the Chiron with the sun shifting from Scorpio to Sag, just say Chiron, and I'll do whichever one you want, okay? All right, Nicole, we have you next, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, we have Nicole, then we have Adelaida, okay? And La Balin, if you want a reading, just go ahead and send your love offering. If you send it to the PayPal, that's fine. Just let me know because I can't really check my PayPal from my phone right now. But we have Nicole, then we have Adelaida, then we have Sinidra, and then I'll go from there. Okay. Let me scroll up and y'all know my memory is bad. Okay, I'm just going to highlight the last thing Nicole read so that I don't forget I'm talking to her, because I will forget that I'm talking to her. So we're going to start with your new moon, okay? We're going to do your new moon first, Nicole. So the new moon is alchemy of renewal for those who are interested. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits above with me, elevated ancestors. What does Nicole need to know at this time about what the new moon in Scorpio will reveal for her? What forms of transformation will it bring into her life? What information is this moon here? What wisdom is this moon here to pour into her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Thank you, Sinidra. I will do Bertal after I do you. You know what's funny? There are certain people for whom certain cards always come up, and the world card is always going to come up for you, Nicole. It's really fascinating. So in the position of the shadow that needs to be released, which asked us about what needs to die so that we can have our rebirth, we have the world card. It's literal and figurative for you. You need to travel more of the world. I know you travel a lot of the country for your work, but you need to travel more of the world in general. But also, I think you haven't fully embraced this new chapter of your life. I think there's still a little bit of residual guilt around what should be a time of celebration, right? So there may be moments where you kind of reach back to focus on things from your past or to invite other people's issues into your world. Notice that she's dancing and she's dancing alone, right? So giving yourself permission to really revel in how far you've come, how hard you fought to be where you are, and owning it is something that you really, really have to work on, okay? In the position of the power that's returning, which talks about the hidden strength or the spiritual gift, you are really good with transformation. You are somebody who is not afraid of change. You're really not. A lot of people fight their death moments. A lot of people will literally, I've met people, and I'm not even gonna say names. I've been doing this work professionally for 5 years now. That feels insane to say alive. It's not alive, aloud. I've been a priestess for 6.5 years. There are people I know that literally, when I first started doing this work professionally, are still fighting the exact same transformation that they did when I met them. That's not you. You are not afraid to look death in the face. And in Vodou, we understand that death is not an ending. It's a cycle, right? And you're not afraid to change because you understand that change is the only constant. And that literally is your strength. Somebody who's unafraid of change, you really can't do shit to take them out because they're always going to be able to learn. They're going to be able to roll with the punches. Your spirits want you to really embrace that as your gift and understand that that's something that not everybody has, right? In the position of the seed of intention, which talks about the intention you should plant now to align with your rebirth, we have a really fascinating card that's in that position. The Three of Swords. Heartbreak meant for maturation. So what you need to plant is, give me the word, Spirit. Help me say this right. You need to, so it's not so much planting in order to grow. It's planting like literally burying and leaving to death. There's no reason why you should have any more heartbreak in the rest of your life. If you have any heartbreak in your life, it's because you're not celebrating enough and you're going back into your past and you're taking on other people's wounds. There is no more lessons to learn. There is no more heartbreak to take on. Like literally, if you have heartbreak, it's only because you are doing things that you know good and damn well you shouldn't be doing. You've learned it all. You've already healed. So releasing this understanding that pain is a part of life, not for everybody. Some of us are so blessed that we just get to have the joy. And I think that you don't fully understand that. You almost feel guilty for that. So that's literally what you need to bury. You need to bury this understanding that, pain is a part of life, and, bad things are going to happen to me. No, you've already lived through enough. You've already learned enough. You've already embraced enough. It's okay to be in a position where the rest of your years from here on out are meant to be pleasant and are meant to be explorative and are meant to be expansive. So don't create pain where there doesn't need to be any. Okay? Now let's look at your Chiron reading, your wound to wisdom reading. Ancestors, angels, and master spirits that walk with me. What wisdom does Chiron and Aries have to pour into Nicole as the sun shifts from Scorpio to Sagittarius? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. And Adelaida, if you could put in the comments section which of the two readings you want so that I can do you next, I would greatly appreciate it, okay? So for you, the wound or the truth / emotional pattern that's surfacing during Chiron, it's funny because we just talked about this in the last reading. It's like when things are going too good, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for something to go wrong. When things are too pleasant, it's like you look back on your past or the empty cups and you stare and you wonder, okay, what's about to go wrong? What's about to happen? That's literally an emotional pattern you got to break. You got to break this pattern of disconnecting when things are placid and waiting for something to go bad, right? Because spirit is like literally handing you and saying, hey, it's not going to go bad. Things are great. Things are great. But you're like, no, I'm looking at everything that didn't work out because something else isn't going to work out. Stop. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. You're doing more than enough. And that's why you got to quit that, because it's not true. It's not even in alignment with your reality. In terms of your fire of reclamation, what's going to allow you to really reclaim your power and your identity, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Continue to plant seeds for your future. Continue to... I love the relationship between you and No Name. Continue. She does do too much. Continue to plant seeds for your future. Get excited about your future. Nurture the opportunities for your future. Be future focused. Stop looking back on the past and waiting for it to creep back up. Stop waiting for the shoe to drop. You have a beautiful future ahead of you. Focus on that. Continue to plant seeds in that. Nurture those seeds. Think about that. Right? In terms of the vision that you need to carry forward and what's going to turn your healing into wisdom, this is a funny message. It wouldn't kill you to be a little bit more selfish. It would not kill you to be a little bit more selfish. Four of Pentacles, reserve your energy, reserve your resources. Be a little greedy. Save for yourself. Worry about yourself, right? Sometimes this is a bad card, but in this instance, it's not. Spirit low-key wants you to be a little bit more selfish. Because here's the thing, the hyperfixation on the past is low-key what allows you to be a little bit taken advantage of by other people, right? And if you focus on your future and your present, it requires a little bit of selfishness. Let yourself be a little bit more selfish. Focus on yourself and do it without guilt. Do it without apology, okay? It's funny, but it's a real message. It's what you needed to hear, baby. I know it may sound silly, but it's the message that you needed. All right, Adelaida, you want the renewal reading, so you want the new moon reading. Okay, I got you. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Adelaida need about this new moon in Scorpio? We'll leave that card out to the side since it fell. What is the new moon in Scorpio here to teach her? What will be revealed? How will it heal her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. You are more than welcome, Nicole. Thank you for trusting me. I really appreciate you supporting these lives and showing up for me the way you do. I truly do. So, in the position of the shadow to release, the thing that needs to die is that you do engage in a lot of escapism. And when I talk about the escapism of Page of Cups, remembering that Page of Cups is a Pisces card. Pisces is the sign of the martyr. So I wouldn't say you engage in escapism like you daydream all day or you're out of touch with reality. Pisces have a tendency to put the people that they love on pedestals. So once you admire a person, once a person has your respect, you pedestalize them. You see the potential in people, and then you treat them like their potential as opposed to who and what they are, right? And that's something that you really need to release. That's something that really needs a habit that needs to die because it hasn't been helpful to you, right? You see people with these rose-colored glasses, and then when they do things that are rooted in their humanity or the humanity that other people actually saw very clearly in them, it hurts you deeply. So that's something that you really need to work on releasing. And as we get closer to the new moon, and probably in the days after the new moon, you'll have some experiences that really will drive that home and highlight that for you. In terms of how your power returns to you, the hidden strength or gift you have that's going to be reborn and really elevated in this new moon. And I've said this about you before. You have a deep sense of faith. Your belief in God, your belief in the ability for your spirits, the spirits in your court to change things is so very, very strong. And that has carried you so far. And it's going to continue to carry you far. You have a deep, unshakable faith. And there's so much vulnerability in your faith, right? In the position of the seed of intention, and what needs to be planted in order to align with your rebirth and your emotional truth. It's interesting. You got the same card that Nicole got. You got the Three of Swords. So you keep repeating certain wounds. You keep repeating certain habits, and it's probably related to this Page of Cups dynamic, right? The thing about the Three of Swords is that it's a heartbreak we're only meant to experience once. And if we keep going through it, it's because we're not learning the lesson. So the thing that you really need to plant is you really need to believe, I'm done. I'm done with this cycle. I don't want to experience it again. I want to be clear about who people are. I don't want to continue to see things through rose-colored glasses. I'm going to, let a little bit of emotional sobriety come into my life so that I don't keep finding myself in the same position over and over again. Now, this is interesting because the card that fell out while I was shuffling is the Three of Pentacles, and we've talked about this before. Community is always going to be a part of your life. You are not one of those people that, can go on a hermitage and isolate and come up with some business idea and then just get rich. You're always going to be a part of community. And this is a huge part of the reason why you have to learn these lessons about the rose-colored glasses. Because this is not going to go away in your life. In fact, the way that you meet your elevation is going to be through collective work within community. But you also have some bad habits, unfortunately, around giving people a little bit too much grace, which Pisces can do. And it's not even just that they give people too much grace, they give the wrong people grace. They give the predators grace, right? So that's a habit you really got to break. And you're going to get some wisdom in this new moon that really supports you in being able to do that, okay? I feel like, so I did Chantel, I did Nicole, I did Adelaida. I got to see who's next. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we have Sinidra, and then we have Sinidra, Kayla, Bratal, and then Berserker Magica. If I've missed anybody, please let me know. Sinidra, no name, Berserker Magica, and then Bratal. And if there's anyone that I'm missing, just say something in the comments, okay? So Sinidra, which of the readings did you want, love? You want new moon. Okay, you want new moon. All right, so Sinidra, I'm gonna highlight your last comment because again, my memory is terrible. Hello, V Underhill. That name does not look familiar, so I want to say thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that you were here for the beginning of the segment and that you got to see the astrological breakdown. If you did not, I strongly encourage you to go back once the live is over and watch that part. I feel like, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but beep, beep. It was a lot of really good information there, so I strongly encourage you to go back and watch it when you get the chance, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me. What wisdom does this new moon in Scorpio have for Sinidra? What revelations will she come to? What rebirth and transformation will she experience with this new moon in Scorpio? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Okay, so Sinidra, the shadow that you need to release and that the new moon in Scorpio is going to help you release. We have the 10 of Cups in reverse, which is fascinating. So you have, okay, La Balin, I'll get to you after Bertal, if that's okay. You have a lot of community, and you have a lot of community that fucks with you. But for whatever reason, you don't trust it, right? When 10 of Cups is in reverse, it's like we feel unloved or we feel unseen by our community. So even though these are people that will really vouch for you, really love you, when they think about their most fond memories, you come up, there's a part of you that either feels like it's not enough or you don't believe it fully, right? And that's not really true, but there's just an attachment to the disbelief and this inability to sit in comfort with the people that love on you, if that makes sense. In terms of how your power returns to you, the hidden strength or the spiritual gift that you have, you're a sniper, baby. You're very observant. You pick up on a lot of things that other people don't see. And that could be why you feel like people don't love you, because you probably get people that snap at you about that. Folks don't like people who are like that. I have a sibling that's like that. They notice every little fucking thing. And I remember growing up, people used to always bark on them. But it's not their fault. They're just fucking smart in a way that other people are not, right? Knight of Pentacles is an earth energy, and earth signs are very fucking observant. And you always can pick up on whatever the T that needs to be crossed, the little fine detail that other people are missing, the ways in which somebody will say something and it's not in alignment with their action. You see all that shit. And you need to understand that that is a gift. There's a precision in that. And it's a gift. Even though if it doesn't matter if it irritates other people. That's a blessing. That actually allows you to protect yourself from a lot of shit. There's a reason why I say the Knight of Pentacles is the sniper. Snipers don't necessarily move quick and they're not the loudest, but they see everything. That's why they're able to find the entry point, right? The seed of intention that you need to plant right now so that you can really be aligned with your rebirth and really embrace an emotional truth that's going to move you forward. Lover's card, Gemini. Allow yourself to be aligned with the possibilities and the love that's actually around you. You got to start believing that people really fuck with you, baby. And you got to open up and allow yourself to see the ways in which people really want to share with you, really want to build with you, really see that it's like the people that are around you and love you, they have the belief that when you elevate, they elevate with you. People really want to see you win, and they really, really fuck with you. But you got to embrace and believe that, right? Gemini is the twin. And when we say that, people think that it means it's another being. Yes, sometimes it is when we're talking about relationships and love and romance, but most of the time it's the twin within them. You are your own twin flame. And the only reason why you have this distrust that people don't love you, even though you have tremendous amounts of love around you, is because you believe that there's something in you that's not fully lovable. So you got to work on that lover girl energy within you. But it starts with the way that you are a lover girl to yourself. Okay? Who the fuck is next? I done already forgot. I sat here and said, I went through the whole list and I done already forgot who's next. No Name, then Berserker Magica, then Bertal, then La Balin. Okay, and then Underhill. Okay. All right, No Name. I believe you wanted the... No Name, can you tell me which of the readings you want, baby? I don't see it on the thing. No Name, which of the readings you wanted? Did you want New Moon or did you want Chiron? No Name. Oh, you want Wound to Wisdom, so you want Chiron. I got you, No Name. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that so that I don't forget that I'm talking to you. Y'all, 4 months without marijuana and my brain is still complete shit. It's ridiculous. I got you, V Underhill. I'll get to you in just a bit. We're going to take care of No Name first, okay? Let's get to this Wound to Wisdom reading. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Chiron in Aries have for No Name as the sun shifts from Scorpio to Sagittarius? What will they learn about how to take the medicine from their wounds to heal themselves as well as heal others? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. I just need to pay attention and not put it in the back burner like I keep doing. So if you ever want me to call you and cuss you out the way that I be cussing your sister out, just let me know. If you ever want me to light you up the way that I light up Ratal, just give me the word. If you think you'll find it helpful, just tell me, and I'm happy to do that for you. All right. So for you, no name, the wound beneath the flame, the truth or emotional pattern that keeps surfacing in terms of your Chiron, you have no boundaries. You got to be better with your boundaries. And when I talk about, so the boundaries of the Seven of Wands isn't even so much about not answering your phone too much. It's not that kind of boundary. It's about not internalizing other people's needs to bring you down to size, right? Some of the ways that you can stunt your own elevation is by internalizing the wrong opinions from the wrong people. Not everybody is giving you your opinion because they want the best for you. Some people are giving you an opinion just because they don't want to see you elevate beyond them. And even if they are giving it to you because they think that they want the best for you, sometimes people can only give advice based on their limitations, right? And so you can't absorb everybody's opinion. You can't absorb everybody's feedback. If you know what you want to do and if you know what you want for yourself, because the wands are about passion, right? You have to be so dedicated to that you are consistently and continually rising above whatever anybody else has to say, whatever anybody else does to try to cut you or bring you down to size. And so that's the boundary you need to work on, is not internalizing other people's opinions or projections, because that's one of your biggest forms of distraction, okay? In the position of the fire of reclamation and what's going to help you reclaim your identity and your agency, we have the World card. Oh God, all my California just came. The World card. It's okay to be an expert. It's okay to have moved into this space where there's like a certain energy that you've already moved past and beyond. And instead of celebrating that and being present to it and being welcome to move into a new chapter, you keep finding yourself stuck in old arguments and defending old projections, right? Celebrate and embrace how far you've come. Celebrate and embrace how far you've come, because in that celebration, it brings you the rejuvenation that you need to even take on the next chapter. So this is what you really need to be focused on right now. You need to focus on the reclamation of your power through reclaiming joy and being grateful for how far you've come and being ready for what's next. There's something next. There's something new that's owed to you, for lack of better words. But you feel like you're obligated to be stuck in an old energy. No, celebrate and move forward. The vision that's going to carry you forward, what's going to help you turn your healing into wisdom and direction for the road ahead. I love that this is the card that's coming up for you. So this is one of my favorite cards because it's a really misunderstood card. I wouldn't say misunderstood. Let me reframe that. A lot of people get this card and you can tell about where they are with where they see themselves being comfortable. I think you are comfortable seeing yourself as the merchant. You see yourself as somebody who's obligated to give and to pour out your pentacles into other people. But what you need to be comfortable with embracing is that you are the person that deserves to receive. You've given a lot of charity. You've given a lot to a lot of people. It's time that you get comfortable with receiving. You have to figure out what it looks like to shift the tide. And I think sometimes we think that if we're always giving, that is a form of power. But being open to reception is a form of power too, right? So asking yourself, what does it look like if I let people pour into me the way that I pour into them? And how can I even position myself for that? That's where your healing takes place. And then it also, not only is it where your healing takes place, you then get to share that wisdom with other people. I don't think you understand how many Black women of color in general, but particularly Black women, struggle with knowing how to receive. We get frustrated as fuck that nobody's helping us. And then when somebody helps us, we feel shamed about it. You have to work on your ability to receive. You're not always the person that has to give. Okay. Berserker Magica is next. Did you want wound to wisdom or did you want wound? Wait. Yeah, you wanted the wound to wisdom reading as well, Berserker Magica. So I'm just going to scroll up and see if I can find a comment from you so that way I can remember who I'm talking to. There we go. And then we'll do Bertal, and then we'll do La Balin, and then we'll do V Underhill. And then if there's no one else after that, I'll go ahead and wrap up for the night. Okay? Y'all are so cute. Y'all are so cute. Y'all in here acting like Lovana and her mom. The mother and daughter duos that come to my live are so adorable. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me. Elevated ancestors. That Page of Swords really wanted to flip over. Ancestors, what does Berserker Magica need to know about what Chiron in Aries has in store for them with the sun's shift from Scorpio to Sagittarius? What will be revealed about their wounds and how they can use their wounds to heal themselves as well as those around them? How do their wounds prepare them for the medicine that they'll learn the craft to heal themselves as well as others? And wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. You are very, very welcome. Anytime. So the wound. I don't think I've ever done any natal chart work for you, but I think it's really, really interesting that with the wound that's coming up or the truth or emotional pattern that's resurfacing for healing, you have the Page of Pentacles, right? And Page of Pentacles is a very, very interesting card. We know that the Page of Swords is the honor student and the Page of Pentacles is the apprentice. What does that mean? Page of Pentacles is somebody who feels like they have to learn by doing, right? There's like a sacrificial energy to the way that they get education that the Page of Swords and the other pages don't really deal with. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have your Chiron either in Gemini or one of the other air signs, or if your Chiron is in your third house. But it's like you're always striving to learn something new. And that sounds impressive, and it is impressive to a certain degree, but it's like you feel like education has to have pain attached to it as well, right? So in one of my decks, the Page of Pentacles is understood as the personal trainer, right? And that energy of no pain, no gain is attached to that. That's a very Page of Pentacles mentality, but also like, what the fuck? You can gain without pain, my nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a part of you that feels like in order to learn, you have to hurt a little, if that makes sense. And that's not necessarily true, right? Chiron is conjunct moon, so I love it. Okay. In terms of the fire of reclamation, how you can reclaim your power, identity, and agency through healing, we have the Seven of Cups. So Seven of Cups is a really interesting card. It represents emotional confusion, right? And sometimes it's emotional confusion because a lot of options are being presented to you, or there's too much information coming in at one time. And the inability to process it all makes it hard to choose the right choice. So there can be times where you commit to things and it's not until, like, you know, further down the line that you realize, like, oh, I thought I was committing to a heart, but it's actually a snake, right? So it's like information overload that stunts the emotions. And that's why I think it's interesting that the Page of Pentacles is here. Because if you have the understanding that in order to learn and in order to grow, there needs to be pain involved, and then you're always taking in too much information that overwhelms you, it can put you in a position where you're always creating situations that overwhelm you, that drown you out, that cause choice paralysis, right? So a lot of what's coming up about how it is that you reclaim your identity, you got to slow down a little bit. Give yourself permission to slow down. You don't have to learn everything all at once. You don't have to manage everybody else's feelings all at once. It's totally okay to only do 1 to 2 things at a time. That doesn't make you, again, going back to Page of Pentacles, that doesn't make you lazy. That doesn't make you unintelligent. That doesn't mean that you're not trying hard. If anything, it's making sure that you are evaluating what is in front of you thoroughly so that you don't have misunderstandings or overwhelm around what you do commit to, right? In the position of the vision carried forward, how you turn your healing into wisdom and direction for the road ahead, we have the Justice card. I love the Justice card. It's one of the most misunderstood, even though it's really simple. What you get from a situation is what you get back. It's that simple. It's the Western misconception of what karma is, right? We think karma is you're going to get back what you do. And that's what the Justice is. It's like whatever you put into the situation, that's what you get back. If you put overwhelm and exhaustion and overextension into a situation, then you will get depletion and confusion and scattered energy. If you put focus and deliberate energy into something, you will get focused and deliberate results, right? So for you, the way that you transform a lot of this kind of scattered mental energy is by reminding yourself that you don't want scattered results, right? And buckling down and figuring out a way to balance the scale. How do I allow myself to be this really cerebral person that cares about breadth of knowledge without overextending myself to the point where, you know, I can't even focus, or I'm committing to things that I learn later down the line that I either don't fully have investment in, or I don't know or respect the attachment anymore, right? There's an overextension that's happening, and I don't know if I'm articulating myself right. I hope that this makes sense. Feel free to let me know in the comments if that made sense or not. But the main thing that I'm seeing here related to you and Chiron and what this transition from Scorpio into Sag is trying to teach you is that Scorpio is teaching you that you kind of do a little too much because you feel like doing too much is a sign of strength. But as the sun goes into Sag, it's going to show you that no, actually balance is key. Okay? All right, Bertal, you are next. Okay, good. I'm glad that it makes sense because I felt like I was struggling through that. All right, Bertal, I got you. So you wanted a new moon reading, Bertal. We got Bertal, then we got La Balin, then we got Underhill, and then I'm going to wrap up for the night. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does the new moon in Scorpio have for Bertal? What will be illuminated through this time? How will it help her with rebirth and transformation? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Lavana, are you still here? So with the ritual have us doing, I keep forgetting that I'm wearing my mother's perfume, or her favorite perfume. It didn't belong to her, but I'm wearing her favorite perfume. And I keep being like, what is that scent? Because she and I had very different tastes in perfume. It doesn't smell bad. It's just I keep feeling like I smell like an old lady that works in an office. So in the position of Bertal, for you, the shadow that needs to be released, what needs to dissolve or be surrendered for your rebirth. Yeah, you're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this. You gotta stop hiding. You like to hide way too much. You want to keep things hidden. You want to keep things close to your chest. You don't like being exposed. But the only way that true rebirth can happen, literally the manifestation of the moon card. The moon is about incubation. It's the womb, right? So yes, things need to be transformed in that space, but the only way that it can really be brought to life is if you take it out of that womb and bring it to the surface. You got to quit hiding, right? And I'm not going to tell all your business on this live because I love you. And I feel like this is attached to so many themes. I was joking with your sister earlier about cussing you out, but this is attached to so many things that I feel like I've cussed you out about just in the last 3 months alone. You got to stop being so comfortable with hiding. It's like you want to stay in the womb. You want to stay inside Mama Moon. And that's not where you're meant to be. The integration is coming to a close, and you got to get comfortable with being drugged out into the light. So you got to get comfortable with not hiding. You got to dissolve or surrender this need to be hidden. In the position of how your power returns, you saw me shuffle the cards, so you know I'm not doing any weird shit. 4 of Wands, getting comfortable with not just being stable, but being seen. The card of homecoming. The card of celebration. In Millennial Tarot, this is known as the card of going viral. And I always thought that was such a good understanding of the 4 of Wands, because it's like, it's not just homecoming, it's other people celebrating you. It's other people seeing your stability. You don't like to take up space. And the only way you're going to be able to really claim your power is by getting comfortable with taking up space, right? In the position of the seed of intention, what it is you need to plant so that you can be aligned with the energy of rebirth, you have to literally start engaging in the habit of seeing yourself as somebody with a public profile. You have to plan, instead of hiding and wallowing and focusing on the things that bring you fear about it, start allowing yourself to visualize and see, okay, what are the benefits? And the more you see the benefits, the more you allow yourself to visualize the possibility, the easier it's going to be for you to actually take those initial steps. Not I feel like Gizmo. See, now I want to watch that movie. You so silly. You are so silly. But yeah, that's something that you got to stop doing, baby. You got to stop it. You got to stop fucking hiding. Alrighty. La Balin, I got you, and you wanted both. So we'll start, since I just did a new moon anyway, we'll start with your new moon, and then we'll go into your Chiron. V Underhill, can you remind me which of the readings you want, and then we'll wrap up with you? Okay. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, elevated ancestors, for wisdom about this new moon in Scorpio. Will La Balin benefit from? What will her ancestors and the spirits in her court reveal to her during and after the new moon in Scorpio on November 20th? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. You are very, very welcome, Bertal. Deeply, deeply welcome. Y'all some riders. Y'all really been here with me almost 2 hours. I appreciate y'all so much. Okay, La Balin. In terms of what you need to dissolve or surrender before your rebirth can occur, you got to work on vulnerability. You got to work on having an open heart chakra. You have a lot of distrust, right? It's easier. You're another woman that struggles with receiving. You are more comfortable with being the giver than the receiver. There's something about having your heart open and letting people pour into you that scares you, something about vulnerability that really scares you. So you really have to work on your relationship with vulnerability, and you are going to have concrete experiences both around the new moon and in the days after that really highlight how this shows up for you, how your struggles with trust and vulnerability show up for you. And I think this second card is going to help you understand what I'm talking about. In terms of how your power returns to you, the hidden strength or the ancestral resource that's being reborn. So I was talking about the struggle with vulnerability and the distrust, right? And you may be thinking, okay, what the fuck does that mean? You don't like to let shit go. You don't like to let shit go. And when you have tower moments, you assume that it's punishment. You assume that you fucked up. You assume that it's happening because your world is falling apart. But the towers happen because we're trying to cling to shit that we're not supposed to be clinging to. And when we cling to things we're not supposed to, that is a sign of distrust. That's what I mean by you struggle with vulnerability, right? So a part of how your hidden strength is coming through and an ancestral resource that's being born within you is that your ancestors are really teaching you how to trust your tower moments. They're teaching you what it looks like to really trust that when something's being ripped away from you, it's only happening because something better is coming. And it's about the clearing of a space. It's not about punishment. That transformation, that shift in understanding is really going to open up a lot for you. Seed of intention. What is the intention that you need to plant in order to align with rebirth? Again, going back to that Ace of Cups. I think a huge part of the reason why you cling to things is because you have been hurt before. You've been victimized. And I think for you, the strategy has been to double down and to not let people in. But the Five of Swords is coming up because they're saying that strategy does not work. And it actually puts you in the position of being further victimized, right? Five of Swords is telling us we're doing something that's putting us in a position where people get to walk away with our peace. They walk away with our swords. So what are we going to do to re-strategize so that doesn't keep happening? And so for you, you need to really align with reevaluation. Again, remembering that this is a new moon in Scorpio happening during a Mercury retrograde, right? You need to realign with understanding that war strategy is not something that's always stagnant. And that when we do hit a bump, when we do have a tower, right? When something happens that feels chaotic or painful, the answer is not to shut down and close off. The answer is to reevaluate our strategy. Okay? So I know I use a lot of fight language, but low key, a lot of your revelations around this new moon are going to help you be a better warrior, a better spiritual warrior. I don't know if you've been working on your protection shit recently, but I feel like that's coming up very, very strongly for you. Now, looking at your Chiron, let's see what comes up. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits of rock with me, elevated ancestors. What does Chiron in Aries have to teach La Balin as the sun moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius? How will she be able to turn her wounds into wisdom? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Can't receive with full hands. Absolutely, Nicole. You cannot receive with full hands. Just as a sister, but as another human giving energy to others that deserves appreciation. I got you, the Underhill. As soon as I'm done with La Balin's wound to wisdom, I will be doing yours. So, in the position of the wound beneath the flame, the truth or emotional pattern that is surfacing for healing. Okay. Queen of Wands. We love her. She's a bad bitch. She's a pretty bitch. She's not ashamed to take up space, right? In her debilitation, she can be a little bit of a mean girl. She can be domineering, right? Now, I don't get that that's where you operate from. I think that when you are hurt or when people play you, you can become that though, right? And I think that you've had moments where you've had to be a mean bitch to people and it's never really set right with you because it pulls you out of your authenticity, right? So the wound here is one of when you have been, the emotional pattern that's surfacing is you're going to really be confronted with those times where in response to people playing with you, you've been forced to use your power in ways that you don't like, that are not in alignment with how you fully feel or see yourself, right? So what have been the times where your emotional confidence has teetered into emotional arrogance out of fear or a need to protect yourself? Does that make sense? In a position of fire of reclamation, which talks about how can you reclaim your identity or your agency through healing, I love this for you. Knight of Wands. This used to be one of my most irritating cards, and now I'm starting to love it more and more the more that I study Aries. Aries get over shit really, really quickly. I have two younger sisters that are Aries, and they'll do this thing that's really fascinating where they will cuss you the fuck out with every fiber of their being. And then literally 35 seconds after they've done it, they're partying, they're drinking, they're having fun. They done forgot about everything they fucking said to you. Why am I bringing this up? Knight of Wands is about being so involved in the dance and the movement of life, being so wrapped up in joy that they don't remember shit, that they don't let things bother them, right? So a huge part of what is going to help you with your healing and to reclaim your power is to be so enthralled in your experience of living life that you don't even have time to let somebody else's bullshit turn you into a mean girl or bring you out your bag or bring you out of your vibration, okay? In the position of the vision carried forward, we have, or this is talking about how you use your healing to turn it into wisdom. we have the King of Pentacles. And I actually love this for you. Not only because it's wealth and luxury and it's Taurus energy and I'm a Taurus, but I love it because it's also the card of legacy, right? And I think that's another reason why this stuff around the Queen of Wands and the hurt is coming up for us. The way that you turn your wisdom into healing is by remembering that you are somebody who's building a legacy. And you're bigger than any moment that somebody has triggered you or bought you out of your bag or bought you out of your frequency. All of that shit is just a stop along the way and something that's meant to teach you bigger lessons. That's something that is very much a King of Pentacles thing, right? They're not afraid or ashamed of any bumps they've had in the road. You can't really shame a King of Pentacles because they feel like everything that they've experienced is just something that has turned into wealth for them, turned into something that helps them build their legacy, right? So I love, in different ways, both of these last two cards are very much about like not sweating the small stuff and remembering that even if you have a moment where somebody pulls you off your throne or out of alignment, oh well, it's just wisdom. It's something that builds you closer to who it is you're meant to be, right? I hope that that makes sense. Y'all are funny. I can't help it. I don't even know where I picked that habit up at. But La Balin, let me know if that resonates with you. The Underhill, you wanted the Wound to Wisdom reading as well. If there's no one else, I'm going to wrap up after the Underhill. I want to thank everybody so much for supporting this. You guys have been here with me for 2 full hours, so I want to thank you all. Thank you so very, very much. I know this has been a long reading, and I want to, again, thank you for your patience throughout it. La Balin, let me know if you were able to receive your reading. Put a comment so that I know you're still here with me. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, elevated ancestors. What wisdom does the Underhill need to know about Chiron in Aries, and what the shift of the sun from Scorpio into Sagittarius will bring forward for them? What will be illuminated about their wounds? What will they learn about how to take the wisdom from their wounds to turn that into medicine? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. You are very, very welcome. The Underhill, we have another person that dims their light, unfortunately. With you, the wound that is beneath your flame, the emotional pattern that's surfacing, we have the Sun card. You have a lot of natural favor, a lot of vitality. Sun card is Leo energy, and Leos are one of the main signs in the zodiac where it's like you either love them or you can't stand their ass, right? I personally love Leos, but I also am a Leo rising, so I am technically a Leo, right? And the reason why people feel that way is because they are the sign of theater. Even when Leos are not trying to, they just get a lot of attention. They get a lot of favor. They're only second in terms of luckiness next to Sagittarius in the entire zodiac. But with you, even though you've gotten a lot of favor in your life, it's almost like you carry shame around it, because rather than paying attention to the favor, you hear and you tap into the jealousy. And the jealousy makes you very, very uncomfortable. So you have a tendency to dim your own light out of, and this is the word that Spirit is giving me, out of shame for the amount of natural favor that you carry. Okay? In terms of how you can reclaim your power and your agency, we have the Strength card. You have to learn how to embrace that shit. You have to learn how to stand in it even scared. You have to learn how to look the lion or your challenges, your haters in the face and still stand in your favor, still stand in your authenticity, still stand in your power. Strength card is a card of authenticity. It's about how do I authentically deal with my challenges? How do I authentically figure out a way to do the things I need to do scared? And even though you are somebody that attracts a lot of natural favor, you mute yourself, you hide yourself, you minimize your amazing qualities because you don't like to deal with the jealousy or the negative attention that comes with it. But the Strength card is saying, fuck that shit. You have to reclaim your agency by embracing that you are just that kind of person. And if it hurts other people, that's for them to find. That's for them to figure out. That's their choice to be heard. In terms of the vision carry forward, which talks about how you turn your healing into wisdom, we have the 8 of Cups. You don't have to be for everybody. You don't even have to be for every situation. In fact, learning to be comfortable with getting up and walking away from people when they show that they cannot handle who you are, when they show that they are jealous, when they show that they're going to go out of their way to make you feel like you have to minimize yourself or play small. That's something that you got to get comfortable with. 8 of Cups is about walking away from situations that don't serve you. It's about leaving things behind so that you can find the energy and the spaces that are actually in alignment with you, right? So instead of feeling like you got to prove yourself through hiding, through minimizing, you can't mute the sun. You can't mute the sun. It's not possible. So if people can't handle the sun, you know what? You just got to walk away. And that's something that you need to learn to do. And you have to understand that doesn't, I love that this message is coming up through the 8 of Cups, because what happens a lot of times is people think that if they walk away, they pussy. Pardon my language. People think that walking away makes them a coward. But sometimes the bravest thing that you can do is walk away. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is realize I really don't need to be up under a whole bunch of people that are jealous of me. And baby, I'm saying this as somebody with a Leo rising. I wish I could tell you with honesty. If we were not on camera right now, I would go on a tangent about the amount of situations where I fucked myself over by trying to ignore that people were jealous of me when I should have just walked away from some shit much sooner. So please don't let this, don't let this lesson linger. Embrace it, because that's where your medicine lies. Your medicine lies in understanding, no, I'm the sun. You don't mute the sun. You don't mute the sun. But you do restrict people's access when they can't handle it. Okay? Love you all. Love you all. Love you all so much. Our ritual ended at 6 o'clock and I was supposed to break fast then. And it's now 10, so I'm going to go reheat my burger. And I'm going to eat my dinner and show gratitude to my spirits for everything that they've opened up for all of my ladies who participated in Rich Spirit this last round. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I really, really hope that the wisdom that I gave in the beginning was helpful for you all. If you did not get to catch the breakdown of the new moon in Scorpio and the conversation where we revisit the Chiron in Aries retrograde discussion, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch the replay of this video and take heed to that wisdom so that way you know how to navigate this energy. I have multiple astrological services on my website. If you want a natal chart reading or analysis, book one with me. If you want to get a 2026 forecast reading where you not only get natal chart analysis, but you also get tarot readings or tarot spread projections about what 2026 has in store for you, please do so. If you have a birthday coming up and you want to get a solar return reading, definitely book those. Also, you guys heard me mention Rich Spirit. It is over. We will not be doing another collective Rich Spirit ritual until February 2026. But if you purchase my Rich Spirit body wash, it does come with what I call a sweet money flow regimen, where it basically is a set of things that you can do to incorporate into your spiritual regimen, affirmations, Bible verses, things of that nature that you can use in conjunction with the body wash to call in prosperity and remove financial blockages. So again, sorry you missed out on Rich Spirit, but if you want to get the body wash and you want to follow that regimen, feel free to check out my website. The links are below. We have our next Patreon class Thursday the 20th. We are going to be going over what I call conjure cooking, and we're going to be talking about the necessity and importance of enchanting your food as you cook. And I will be sharing 3 not only delicious. I'm a badass cook. If you've ever been around me and you've had the joy of experiencing the food that I cook, you will be blessed. My 2 recipes, or the 2 things that I make that people love the most, are my well, it's 3. Let me not lie. My gumbo, my lasagna, and my fried curry snapper. But those are not the recipes that I'm sharing, but I will be sharing 3 recipes that you can use for the Thanksgiving and winter holidays, to, dose and bring a little magic into the family, or into the life of your family and loved ones. So if you're not already on my Patreon, consider joining at a paid level so that way you can be a part of that class Thursday the 20th. Love you all, and I will see you here at 7:30 on Sunday for the weekly wisdom reading. Take care. Good night, everybody.